All right, ladies and gents, welcome to the third best of five Gold Decider. Winner of this series joins Platinum League for the next season. Just to re-explain how everything works in case you've missed it, the winners of all the gold groups, which would be 4 separate players, they are automatically in Platinum for Season 3 of Titans League. However, the second and third place players from opposing groups, they are fighting off in these best of fives. And we already had 2 players play this best of fives yesterday. Today we have Classicpro and Hearttt, and then the final series will be Lan versus the young gun from France, Margugu. I said at the start of the broadcast today, I said that while the first 2 best of fives were competitive best of fives with some big names. Lick's moving on, very excited to see what he'll do in Platinum. And then Daniel, like 2 great players. These sets today, they really feel as though they are the most competitive. Like, Classicpro was in Platinum for the first season, and the only reason he was relegated in the first place was because of the tiebreak, right? He needed one more win because he lost on a tiebreak to Miguel. So he did really good. I remember him taking wins off of Viper and other players in his group. And then Hearttt, now it's been a long time, and many of you guys might not have even been around, but Hearttt was once a top 10 player. He went through periods of inactivity, periods of being demotivated. When he comes back, he means serious business. And Hearttt means serious business right now. He came up through the silver bracket, made it into gold, and now is in a position to go directly into platinum. So, Hearttt playing as the Hindustanis, excuse me, and then Classicpro playing as the Britons here. And especially with the Britons, you want to be trying to find all the extra sheep in the middle. Both players had attempted to do that. Both players have found a couple extra sheep, if I've picked up on that correctly. And it's a pretty good Civ matchup. Like, we've seen the Hindustanis win on this map. I actually have been a little surprised that we hadn't seen more of the Britons on this map throughout the, at least Platinum League. Hearttt briefly runs into the town center fire there from Classicpro. And Hearttt scouting really early. And this is a really weird map gen here for Classicpro. Like this, I mean, he's got 3 wood lines, right? He's got 4 wood lines, I guess, depending on how far you look. But this area here is extremely open. It's not going to be as easy for him to wall. And this, man, we tried so hard with Ghost Lake. It is such a difficult map to script. And, there were some occasional awkward scripts. And I'm gonna say that this is definitely awkward here. And it could end up benefiting Hearttt. Main gold and stone, obviously horrible and awkward for Hearttt as well. But I think just having the wood lines close by and the ability to wall between them is going to be pretty good on a map where players normally open up defensive. So we have Classicpro from the Ukraine. We have Hearttt from Peru. Players coming from countries where you don't have tons of star power, right? In fact, I can't think of... there is actually another Ukrainian player who's quite good, but he's not, like, near the top. Peru, no offense to you Peruvians. You've got Hearttt and that's it. But, I'm excited for these 2, and I'm a little nervous for them as well, because I think that both players are so good that they will see it as a disappointment to have not made it to Platinum for Season 3. But only one person is going to advance. It is a best of 5, and I know that, you guys right now listening to me, you probably haven't seen the entirety of the draft, but believe me when I say, it is very open standard land mappy, right? Like, it's just the Arabia, Acropolis. There is some water, but for the most part, these guys, they have very similar play styles. I love how Hearttt has started here. He found lots of extra sheep. He was first to the middle with that scout. It's also a little deceiving, though, because Britons eat their sheep very fast. So it's possible Classicpro had additional sheep. And Hearttt clicks up here. Heartt's clicking up to Feudal Age, and Classicpro is here. And so, Heartt's map might be better. But Classicpro's little drush, the militia and the scouts here at 7.5 minutes. This is some crazy pressure, putting Hearttt under pressure. And Hearttt will be wanting to go for archers. Hearttt will be wanting to maybe even make militia of his own. And Classicpro can see that Hearttt is desperate to get that gold. And now he's going to the woodline. And this is actually really good play from Hearttt so far. He's actually had the confidence to get ready to fight with villagers at any point in time. And you can see that Classicpro, he's trying to time his engagements. But he's just not comfortable enough to attack these villagers. Hearttt clicked up so quickly here. He had Loom when the units arrived. And again, this could always turn around at any point in time, and this could be extremely awkward for you. Not to mention that behind this Classicpro is on the way to the feudal age. But it is an interesting moment right here in this game. Is also, I love this from Hearttt. He's not garrisoning the militia. He's also not going to engage with the militia. He is sending the militia forward, hiding the fact that he's making them in the first place from his opponent, Classicpro. It's a good move, but he's got to be careful here. Now, Classicpro, he finally finds an opportunity to try and get the villager, and he's running in front. He's still blocking. He should hit with the scout. He doesn't get the hit, and Hearttt able to save the villager there. So, good start for Hearttt, and Classicpro, he doesn't have scouting on these militia guys. If he knew it was coming, he could get the walls. But Heartt's like, okay, he doesn't know about this. This is a great opportunity for me. He's now in feudal. He's going to make a range. And Classicpro notices this. Classicpro, his turn for damage control, except it's just so much worse for him. He won't be able to take his gold easily. And could easily lose the villager as well. Now, it's important to note, we backdated the patch. We are casting on the previous patch because the current patch does not allow blocking. Yeah, they like broke a couple aspects of the game. Not going to get into it too much, but basically I made the decision and said, well, actually, I also asked players for feedback and said, hey, what do you guys want? Majority of players were like, dude, we've got to use the old patch because this new patch doesn't allow blocking with the scout, which is so crucial for that type of strategy. And in Heartt's instance there, he was clicking like a madman, which is why the scout was kind of blocking, but it wasn't full-on blocking the pathing of the unit. The way the game works is it's all priority clicking. So like the person who's clicked the most recently gets priority in the pathing. So I give Hearttt a lot of credit for how he started this. He was able to kill a villager. And Classicpro with the Britons, he's going to be making archers, as you would maybe expect. Hearttt should be under less threat here. He's got militia that are about to be men-at-arms, and he's going to have skirmishers here as well, and he's got his scout. And as someone who's followed Hearttt for years and years and years, these are situations where if he's in tip-top shape, he doesn't normally let it slip. And Classicpro even deleting a house there, interestingly enough. And it just feels like Hearttt was able to snag a couple extra sheep. Hearttt was able to defend from the early attack. Hearttt has been able to surprise Classicpro, and this is just a steamroll right here. 4 kills, 0 deaths for the Peruvian. And he's just going to slowly whittle down this villager with skirms as well. And yeah, this is the dream. Classicpro had deleted a house. Now he's making more houses. It's one of those that if he recovers from, it's going to be a big momentum swing, and I think it would be a frustrating thing for Hearttt as well. Hearttt has to make sure he capitalizes here. Johannes says, looks like a map win. Did you watch the game at all? The map is not good for Classicpro, I agree. But, oh man, if maps matter... Okay, why do I even read these messages? Why do I even get myself triggered? It's not even the worst message in the world. It's fine. Sorry, I'm just pumping myself up, talking to myself, get myself through this moment. Hearttt has played like a god. Brilliant defense when a villager could have died on that archery range. Or sorry, excuse me, the barracks. Had the quick walls in there. Saved his villager underneath the TC. And has had this wonderful aggression the whole way through. He's played very nicely. Both players having similar eco upgrades. The man-at-arm upgrade being delayed, though, is a pretty of an interesting one here for Hearttt. And I think it was a good move to eventually get it. Initially, I think he was thinking twice about it. But this kind of forces your opponent into a few more archers. And if you force him into a few more archers, and you have the skirmishers, it could be a good point of attack for you. They haven't necessarily killed a lot, but they're allowing a buffer and allowing control over that gold. Now, there have been many instances in Ghost Lake where we've seen players take something other than their main gold because the main golds in this map are just kind of atrocious. Like Hearttt here. This gold is not one he wanted to take. He was able to take this one. That's been really beneficial to him. But I love how Hearttt isn't just simply walling up, and thinking, okay, let's just play defense to the next stage. I love how he's had this continuous aggression. And man, is it adding up. Killing 2 more skirmishers with the man-at-arms and the starting scout. And that starting scout is so valuable in these instances. Not just for the scouting, but also just for the control. And Hearttt is just... He completely smothered Classicpro. Now, maybe Classicpro could consider something else here. Like, maybe he could consider scouts. But we'll see. I mean, Hearttt could always do the same as well. His opponent's also only on skirmishers. Hearttt, 13 skirmishers. There's 7 skirmishers for Classicpro. He's got 4 in queue. So it's not like he's not queuing them. It's just every time he's taking engagements, things are getting worse and worse for him there. And Hearttt does lose his scout finally after some great value. And Classicpro still behind in those numbers. Hearttt happy to continue to push forward. And Hearttt macroing his way towards castle here. Now, this is interesting. Hearttt has had all the time in the world to get fletching. Never researched it. So these have been unupgraded skirms. And I'm wondering if Hearttt is going to prioritize fletching. Also noticing some idols. This is normal when you're microing. And puts a lot of focus on the front. A quote from a player like 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. And it was something I don't bring up as much. But there aren't always instances where it is obvious, right? Like people are like, wow, this person's micro is good, or wow, this person's macro is good. And it was Daniel, again, 2 to 3 years ago. He said, the best player... So I always used to think, you know, they're separate things, micro, macro. And they are, right? But it was Daniel who said to me, the tricky thing is the best players use their micro to set up their macro. And that clicked with me. I was like, oh, yeah. And you feel it too, right? Like here, Hearttt, his micro and his aggression has allowed him to have the better economy behind this, right? Which, again, could lead to a better castle age time. And Classicpro forcing down a tower because he's concerned about the long term. But Hearttt is now clicked up, and Hearttt is now 2.5 minutes away from castle age. And Classicpro's base, he wasn't able to wall, wasn't able to focus on any of that. It was just defense with the army. But again, how many Ghost Lake games have we seen, guys, in Platinum League and even in the one game we saw from Gold League yesterday? That was crazy. How many games have we seen? No blacksmith upgrades, no full wall. Hearttt comfortable in this situation. And Castle Age could obviously be another window for him to attack. Not having knights can be awkward here, but I do like the scout addition here from Hearttt. I actually wouldn't even mind light cav in the long term. Because I'm not sure you really want to make camels against the Britons, but you do want that stable to be valuable. This militia is also just standing there for a long time. It probably wouldn't have really paid off and done much for Classicpro, but we'll see. We got to see this guy recover right now. Definitely the time to get your walls down, right? A couple walls here, a wall there. There's that scout there from Hearttt. The scout's just going to keep boinking these skirmishers. And militia's finally helping out a little bit. This is actually kind of nice, weakening a couple scouts. But what's not nice is now having moved out and losing your archers. You've got 2 archers, 1 spearman, and you still haven't clicked up to Castle Age here. This is really bad for Classicpro. And as we've seen so many times, Hearttt could use this advantage to Castle Age to get a bigger economy as well. I would personally like to see a TC here. Because if Britons ever do get crossbows, they're going to be able to range your woodline. But never mind. Classicpro calls the GG. That was crazy, man. Heartt's defense was so good. I wonder if, like... It's really hard for me to judge what Classicpro could have done differently in this instance. Because the first thing to say is the scouting. The big issue for him was that he didn't know it was going to be man-at-arms from Hearttt. However, you have to have your scout there to block. You have to have your scout there to attack. The second thing I could say is he didn't kill a villager, which is true. He was 1 single hit away from killing a villager at Heartt's base, and then he lost the scout and he lost everything else. So that one's maybe obvious. But overall, like, I don't want to take anything away from Hearttt here. So many players are losing villagers to those drushes these days. So many players are able to have good follow-ups behind that type of a timing in Classicpro's position. But Classicpro got hit so fast. He got hit so hard, and he still did no damage to Hearttt. I think we just got to credit Hearttt for that one. Obviously, the map didn't do Classicpro favors. That's very true. But I think, what was it initially? Like a 6-0 or 7-0 KD for Hearttt? That had more to do with the initial plays in Feudal Age than anything. It was a really good opening there. And Britons was the very first pick for Classicpro. So that's one of the rare times we've actually seen Britons on Ghost Lake. I thought we'd see it so much more coming into Platinum League. I was like, Britons and Gurjaras, Tatars, because all the sheep. We've actually seen Tatars way more than Britons for whatever reason. But yeah, Britons go down here. Classicpro doesn't get the first game. All the maps are very similar. It's a lot of land maps, so we could have a lot of the same openings. The Drushing, the Man-at-Arms, and maybe some archers from these two. We'll see what Classicpro wants to pick next. Oh my goodness, what on earth is this? Welcome, ladies and gents. We've got Game 2. Hearttt is going for the Portuguese. And we've got Classicpro going for the Burgundians. So the first game, we credited Hearttt for his amazing builds and his play into archers. And it was a very quick game. It was a 22-minute game, and it's a great game to really show your opponent what you're made of, get some momentum, and try and win this series quickly. Classicpro, he chose the Britons, and Ghost Lake was obviously a bit awkward there in game number 1. But ultimately, what the Britons like to do is they like to get walls down. And you don't always have a guarantee of that, but you definitely don't have a guarantee of that here on Arabia. And so we look at Classicpro's pick, the Burgundians, a civilization that's been banned so frequently because of how good they are on closed maps. But he has decided to pick Burgundians on Arabia. Now, I remember instances where the Arabia was more closed off in the first season, and people did this. I remember a game where Jordan played against Miguel halfway through their group stage in Platinum, and Jordan tried Burgundians and walled and eco, and I've never really felt that excited about the Burgundians on open maps. So it shocks me a little bit that Classicpro has gone this route. That said, I mean, he's got plenty of wood lines to wall between if he wishes to do that. But all his golds are going to be a spot of worry, and that's going to be the exact same thing for Hearttt here, too. This season's version of Arabia has been more about taking map control and being aggressive than the previous season. So imagine losing the front of your base if you're either player. I guess in Classicpro's case, he still has a stone on the back, so that's nice. He's still got his berries on the back. But, like, the forward berries, forward golds, forward stones, everything's forward there for Hearttt. So this wood line would maybe allow him to wall up a little bit. So, I know Hearttt very well, and it wouldn't surprise me if every game but Acropolis was just man-at-arm archers. Like, he's not a player who normally goes for scouts. Man-at-arm archers, add scouts behind. He's so good with it. We saw him do it in game 1. And Portuguese are pretty good with that as well. So with a 4-on-wood start here, that's kind of what I'm thinking Hearttt might think about. It is always possible that Hearttt returns the favor and goes for the little 2 or 3 malicious shenanigans we just saw. But, you know, Portuguese have received some tweaks as a civilization. Those tweaks have maybe put them over the edge and made them too strong in an arena, for example. That's maybe a conversation for another series, but they're certainly more capable on Arabia than ever. Cheaper gold units, but also receiving some wood from taking your berries is a helpful bonus that adds up. Hearttt just scouting around. This wood line, he will either love or hate in this game. It's a nice little wall. If crossbows get behind there, though, that's going to be annoying to get to. Or imagine like a tower here and here. Oof. And then Classicpro lost his scout in the first game. Needs to make sure he doesn't lose it this game. And Classicpro finds the wood line here from Hearttt. Sees 4 on wood. And now if I were him, instead of looping around the back, against Hearttt, I'd be thinking, let's loop around the front. See if this guy is a mill, because if he doesn't have a mill yet, he might be making a barracks. But yeah, Heartt's going to make that barracks. Classicpro does have the wood upgrade already. Again, Power of the Burgundians. It's cheaper and you can do it in Age earlier. And Burgundians can play aggressively in Feudal Age. And I think that's kind of the main thing I'll circle back to here is just you don't want to be too greedy with the Burgundians here. You still are going to need to compete for map control. If you do that, they might be just as good as the Portuguese, if not better, depending. Do you like how Hearttt plays his mill? I always make a Tetris mill because berries are only 125 food. I do like this. I would have maybe placed it one tile further this way, but the reason he does this is because of quick wall potential. If something shows up and you haven't scouted it, it's just boom palisade and everything's protected. If you place a Tetris mill with this type of berries, you have to place like 3 palisades on either side, and there's just more more mistakes can be made. So sometimes I find that I will place a mill that is slightly less efficient just so I can defend my villagers last minute if I need to. I think that's kind of an underrated thing. Classicpro was surprised in the first game. He's waiting by this barracks now. He doesn't want to be surprised this game. And then Hearttt, he's had some pretty thorough scouting over here against Classicpro, and it looks to me like Classicpro's almost going for scouts. I think he just spotted that militia, though. It is possible that he'll actually consider opening with a range and going into skirmishers. I'm curious to see what Classicpro will do with his eco upgrades. Some people will rush in the Castle Age wood upgrade immediately. But honestly, you're already ahead with the fuselage wood upgrade. If anything, I might even like to just see horse collar, and you just delay that wood upgrade. I don't know. I like Burgundians a lot more on these types of maps because there's more pros and cons to it. On closed maps, it's just like, it's all pro. But most players up against a man-at-arm opening these days in Classic Pro's position are going to open with a range. They're not going to try and go scouts and go counterattack. They prefer to just immediately counter what their opponent's doing, which would be an archer range. He's going for the stable. Interesting. All right. So Hearttt will see that, and Hearttt will be like, ooh, okay. Behind this, we have the archer range from Hearttt. And this is... Hearttt will do this every single game this series except Acropolis, honestly. I think every single one's going to be man-at-arm, archer, spear, and then transition out of that. He is as meta as it gets when it comes to that. And Classic Pro's known it's coming. Classic Pro getting that wood upgrade also has horse collar. Will be adding scouts. He's got 3 scouts in queue. This is really clean. And Hearttt really just not able to find any damage right now. So well played Classic Pro to wall this out. And now if you're going scouts, I think you've got to get that counterattack going before Hearttt can get the walls down. Because that's priority number 1 for Hearttt now. Is wall up. He's walling up on the left side. He's already walled here. And so decision time for Hearttt, because you can also bring a spearman and an archer forward. And if you can stand here with that spearman and archer, suddenly these walls aren't going to do much, and you will eventually have to engage against it if you're Classic Pro. And to me, it almost feels like Classic Pro's waiting for that spear archer to come forward. There it is. An issue I always run into in these instances is by the time I get forward to combine with my man-at-arms and scouts, there's already 4 scouts from the opponent. And if there's already 4 scouts from the opponent, my spearman archer would die. Hearttt just trying to take an engagement against Classic Pro. And Classic Pro, man, his ecos looked super clean. He will have 5 scouts here in a moment. He's waiting. But again, if he saw this right now, he would fight that first. But suddenly, if everything's fighting together, it gets a little bit more complicated. And I think this is Classic Pro. I don't want to say some inexperience, but just being indecisive there. Because initially, he was definitely waiting for that. Now, do you really want to take this fight? You gotta... Now, if you take this fight, you have to make sure you focus that spear. Well, we know one thing's for sure. I mean, Hearttt is completely walled. Also, Hearttt, no eco upgrades. So we're talking 3 eco upgrades versus... Oh, man, the villagers run. 3 eco upgrades versus 0 right now. Oh, the archer exposed. The scout exposed. Okay, Classic Pro. And Classic Pro a little worried right now. He's getting housed. So the execution's been awkward. He's had some idle time. Villagers running all around. But I do think he'll be able to kill this. He takes the fight. He's given Hearttt a lot of free hits here. He's still being patient, I guess, to make skirmishers. Again, he is Burgundians. He's played him very well here. I was curious on how he would play it. I'm glad he's played aggressively. And now he's just going to even use the villagers here. He's like, let me just weaken that spear. And he takes this fight. See how he's focusing the spear first? Perfect. This will be a full clear up from Classic Pro. And Heartt's going to struggle without map control now. So sometimes players in Heartt's position will sneak those 4 archers. They figured if they find me, I lose my army. But I'm walled. And they'll sneak these archers. They'll try and get in before the opponent's walled. Kill a bunch of ills. It's one of the most annoying things to experience if you're Classic Pro. And then other times, and... You know, it depends on the day, it depends on the player. I think it also depends on how fast they think their castle age is going to be. And other times, they just keep the archers alive, and they never really move out, and they just sit at home, and they just wait till castle. I actually feel like had he gone right now with 5 archers, the timing could have worked out, but then again, you might not get in, and then you get found, and then you lose your army. So these scouts are finding that the walls are up. And I think this would feel a lot worse if you weren't Burgundians, right? The fact that you're Burgundians doesn't really make you all that upset right now. But if Hearttt knew, if he had vision or, you know, he had a scout out, he would maybe move out right now because those archers could actually kill these scouts. And those archers would also kill 2 skirmishers that don't have upgrades. So Classic Pros just decided to wall up fast in case the archers were to sneak. And I think there's no holes here. He could actually overchop this woodline pretty quickly. And he's going to wall the backside too. And again, Hearttt just sitting at home. This is going to be This is going to be a very nice game in Castle Age here, I think. And I think then the question becomes, what do you make long-term if you're Hearttt? And seems like Hearttt is still going to make crossbowmen, but he also might mix in a knight because he has to, right? He knows his opponent has skirms. But now I think Hearttt saw, oh, you don't have fletching. Oh, no fletching for you. Only 2 skirms. You might not have more than this, and now Hearttt is moving out. I really like how Hearttt has played this. So I think he was uneasy to move out prior to this because he thought that maybe my opponent would have made 5 or 6 skirms. Now he realizes that that's not the case, and now he's going to hope for damage. Obviously, if there's a hole... That's not a hole, right? It's on a hill. I don't know, man. Like, if that's a hole, Classicpro's in big trouble. He is making more skirmishers, by the way. So he is going to make skirms in the long run, which is certainly fine. I still feel like there could be a hole here. Here comes Hearttt anyways to the wood line. He would click through, and it would let him through if there was a hole. And, okay, they kind of move that way. And Classicpro sees this now. Classicpro should send all of his skirmishers home, in my opinion. And Classicpro should honestly just pull... You could also pull villagers and just head back over to this wood line that he had started on originally. If he doesn't want any headaches, but yeah. Skirmisher just stood here. Not the biggest fan of this move. Heartt's actually slowly whittling down the skirmisher with an archer because of that. But, you know, I guess both players aren't really paying attention to that right now. And yeah, archer goes down. Heartt Sneak Army didn't do much. They'll both be in Castle Age at about 20 minutes. Classicpro now using the scouts to track this. And Classicpro is going to focus on primarily skirmishers here. So he delayed skirm production, saw the archers, is going to make more skirms. He's on 2 ranges. He'll have elite skirmisher. Heartt, however, is going to add knights as well. So I think, you know, the knight addition from Heartt, obviously very good. But what's important is how many units is he going to have alive to combine with those knights? Because he doesn't have that many upgrades. He just wants to make the knights in order to protect these crossbow. Crossbow is still his best unit now. Or at least the unit he's committing towards. If someone wants to see resources collected, there you go. Doesn't really seem like there's been a lot in it. Elite Skirm is now in. And Classicpro has not been able to see that Heartt's out of this stable, but there might be a world where he senses it. And oh man, look where he's placing this town center. This is crucial timing. Heartt looking to force the issue. And now Classicpro's going to see that knight. And this is a horrible feeling. But I guess if you run this way, Heartt might chase you because he can clear up your whole army. And if Heartt can clear up your whole army, he's not going to complain about that. If only Heartt had gone this way, he would have denied that town center. Town center will go up, however. And we have a monastery now for Classicpro. But this is Heartt for you, right? This is the type of play that you'll see from this guy all day today. The Classicpro, he tends to prefer his economy, and that's maybe the difference between these two. So I think it's going to be a really good series. The first game being 22 minutes was a bit of a disappointment for me because I know how good these guys are at what they do. And it's just great, right? Because all of a sudden for Classicpro, it's not that big of a deal that there's a knight because you're behind your walls. You also have a monastery. Heartt will, of course, respect that. Know that there could be a monk popping out at any moment. Monk does pop out. Villager goes down there on the wood line, but now Heartt's got to think about something else. Or hitting a different location. Heartt still doesn't know about this. Because he loops in, he could even lose that knight to the town center if he's not careful. And he sees it now. Now, I think there's no better invitation to siege push than this, right? You see all these golds in this area. Look at all the golds, guys. It's everywhere. Come forward. You've got all this aggression. And try and siege push there. But, I mean, I guess, you know, maybe if your opponent is Burgundians, you feel like you need to just control the map. I'm not entirely sure. But it's a risky game to play right now if you're both players. It just all depends on the micro. And with the 2 monks here, Classicpro can convert the knights. Heartt has to back away. And the thing I think that Heartt is really missing right now is bloodlines. Not having bloodlines is a painful situation for him because your knights are actually going to die pretty quickly to skirmishers with only 1 armor upgrade. You can tell Heartt's thinking the same thing I'm thinking now. Siege push this area. But Classicpro has 18 skirmishers. And then he's got the 2 monks as well. And believe me, if you try and use your crossbows right now to kill the monks if you're Heartt, it's not going to be easy. Classicpro's going to just take your crossbowmen. Maybe it will be easy, actually. I expected Classicpro to run away with the monks. Sloppy move from him. Great move from Hearttt to snipe those monks. And the Siege Workshop's now up, and that siege is just going to be perfect. However, the economy is looking better and better for Classic Pro. And Mangonels obviously can deal with the monks. Mangonels can also end up dealing with the... scouts. Nope. Mangonels can also deal with the skirms. So what does Classic Pro do? Well, he's going to add his own Siege Workshop. Reminder, I think this is a really big deal in this game with this map gen. Having the safe stone is awesome. The golds are more exposed for Classic Pro, in my opinion. But having those villagers on stone means you could, after a good fight in the future, drop a castle and secure all those golds. Also interesting, Hearttt even went as far as to go light cav here because he's worried about those monks. And oh goodness, this is crazy. Classic Pro with the splits. And I mean, he's playing with fire here, man. I think he's got to back away. He's got skirmishers at the bottom of the hill on this side. They're going to get bopped. And Classic Pro had skirmisher numbers, but he has really struggled to keep those skirms alive. Again, just crazy pressure from Hearttt. Still lots of weak skirms around. We see a barracks now for Classic Pro, so maybe he's thinking like pikes. I think Classic Pro is just really struggling with the amount of aggression that Hearttt can put down as a player. Heartt's economy isn't bad, by the way. Heartt's economy is pretty good. 56 villagers. And he's just producing army nonstop. He's producing Lycav. He's producing monks. He's produced many crossbows. And again, Classic Pro's struggling. This is like the third instance he's been underneath his TC. And those mangonels have done damage to the town center, but they're also doing damage to the skirms that they're standing there. I don't see this getting any better for Classic Pro, honestly. Hearttt is just... Oh, well, it's gotten better. Hearttt has just played like a maniac here, guys. I don't think there's a market for Classic Pro, and that's an issue, right? Look at all his farms expiring. He needs a market to balance his economy. Hearttt shooting the farms. Hearttt with the double shot there, getting another kill. It's now 3 mangonels for Hearttt, and we have 0 for Classic Pro. And Classic Pro can't even queue any up. He's got 0 in queue. He can't afford it either. It's one of the worst spots to be in when you have to repair a town center, and then you don't have the wood for the mangonel because of it. Buying wood. Buying stone for a castle, too. I mean, you can't drop the castle here right now. And I feel like dropping the castle behind this is a really bad sign for Classic Pro as well, right? Because, sure, you might get the castle up. It doesn't even save your town center, and then you still don't take those golds. Then again, you might just be defeated otherwise, so it's one that maybe you just have to go for. Hearttt also pretty heavy on stone at home. 400 stone banked up. And Hearttt is playing insane. Beautiful micro from him. And this guy is so good, man. He is so good. He's been good for years. If he's playing Age of Empires 2, taking it seriously, really committing to it, he's a wild player. He's been like top 20, top 30 on the ladder for the last couple months here. And that is what we call a crop shot. Hearttt clicked the farm. It's not the first time he's done that. And he's able to hit from long range. There's this, I don't know if you could call it a bug. I actually think it's kind of interesting. Basically, if you click a farm and attack it, you can attack from one tile further away because the farm attacks always go to the middle. But you can click the farm when you just see the corner of it. Does that make sense? If you're able to get your mangonel shots a little bit further, you predict that someone's going to be heading towards one of their farms, you can crop shot it, as we call it. Classic Pro's got the Vil count. He still has gold. He's going to have double castle. But he's got 13 on food. And naturally, Hearttt was just going to shift over and try and pressure this gold. And Heartt's going to be like, what? 2 castles? What in the world? Okay. And Hearttt will now castle this middle area. It is awkward for him at the moment because there's no easy position for him to push. But Classic Pro doesn't have any realistic way to counterattack. Never mind. I lied. Bustier is going to run in. This could be annoying. Hearttt trying to convert it. And Classic Pro just deletes it. Hearttt has completed this castle. This is something Classic Pro didn't know about until just now. And I think Classic Pro is running out of options here, guys. Heartt's going to click up to the Imperial Age soon. And with a couple trebuchets from him, he could take out all these castles and keep Classic Pro off of these golds forever. Again, important to bring this up because it is so important. Both players had very forward golds in this game. Both players have forward resources. And it has been Hearttt who's just been dominant with the aggression. Classicpro wasn't... Like, Heartt's initial attack was cleared, but Classicpro was unable to do any type of counter damage because of how clean Hearttt had played this. And this is actually getting a little dangerous for Hearttt here. Donating a knight. Also, there's 8 Coustier now, and those Coustier could maybe be the ticket back into this game, but it's been all aggression from Hearttt. Let's see if he can finish it off. He's still behind in villagers. And he still only has 1 archer range of crossbowmen. I would like to see a second range, personally, because I think Arbalest is your best unit in the long run. And maybe some outposting here if you're Hearttt. You don't want to leave yourself exposed when these units are out here. You can tell he's trying to track them at the moment. This is Classicpro's way back into the game, guys. It's a bunch of raids. He's 3 TCs with great eco upgrades. Hearttt ready, trying to get conversions. No ballistics either for Hearttt. He's not really getting the most value out of his army right now without ballistics, but he does kind of hold here, doesn't he? With a conversion or 2. Will complete the university for ballistics. Just 17 crossbowmen. There's 10 skirmishers, but the mangonels are always next to those crossbowmen. And these units have been chased away, and Classicpro has to back away with those skirms. Classicpro still very deep in Castle Age with 41 on food. Trying again for another counter rate. The Classicpro's doing everything he can do right now. With a 4th TC. But again, what does he do against trebuchets? I mean, what he would do is he would use the units he's making right now. He would use these units to snipe the trebs underneath Heartt's castle. That's what he'd do. And that's not a bad plan. Is there an overchop here? There is an overchop. Okay, couple villagers for Hearttt will go down. Heartt's crossbowman now being attacked. Hearttt no support for the crossbowmen anymore. The crossbowmen kind of were the support. The crossbowmen were the answer in the long term, at least from what we were seeing. And Classicpro with some sneaky raids. I don't even know if Hearttt noticed this yet. And he still has to deal with the trebs that could come out, but he is on the way to Imp. Are you kidding me? Classicpro. Classicpro's got 20 more vills. And man, finally we're seeing that eco approach from him kind of make a little bit more sense here, right? Heartt's doing a good job to finally deal with this, though. Looks like he got a few conversions. He's going to drop a castle here. I personally would like to see it even more aggressive than that. But he seems uneasy at the moment. I would say drop it here. Deny the stone, and it makes it so much easier for your trebs, right? The way you're playing this game is into a treb war. So, force the issue as quickly as possible. And Classicpro really... I think punishing Hearttt and how open he's played on the sides. It makes sense when you're playing aggressive Hearttt and you're forcing the issue and you're killing things and they have to stop you. But Classicpro's way back into the game is through things like this. How many times is Hearttt going to have to garrison in this town center? How many times is he going to have to send units back? He's kept the Arbalest here forward. They're getting some nice kills. He also still has the trebs here. That's awesome. And Classicpro planning for life without gold. And Classicpro... he's going to go for light cav. Again, wondering where Classicpro is going to end up getting gold. I can see some yellow villagers on the left side, though. Look at this. He's actually found that gold. He does also have 1 relic. I think there's a hole over here. Heartt's going to have to plug it. Nope. Units are going to run through again. Oh, man. Heartt's eco is so idle right now. But he is going to take out this castle. And he could maybe take out this castle, too. It is extremely complicated right now. Classicpro. What a great game, guys. This is an epic one. The question now becomes, can you make enough light cav? And now Hussar. Can you make enough of that to snipe the trebs and kill some Arbalest? Because if you do that, I mean, you're still not going to have easy gold access, but you could be okay. Imp Armor's on the way. And we're also having Hussar on the way. However, Classicpro trying to take this treb, didn't realize the Arbs were there, so he loses those units. And he's already lost the castle on this side. And the guy's pretty much only going to have Hussar. There's no easy way to tech switch into anything else here. Hearttt with 30 Arbalest will have full upgrades on them in attack soon. And again, I love it from Hearttt. He's had so many different raids to deal with, but he's just continued to pressure. I would love to see some walling, but it's almost like he's moving so fast, and the situation's so awkward that adding palisade walls and palisade gates wouldn't be that helpful. Also, I think Hearttt, I don't know how this is possible. Either the trebs missed. He clicked something else. He's trebbing down something behind the castle. What? I mean, Trebs don't always hit their shots, but I swear to God, they're not hitting anything. They're not hitting the castle. Oh my word, that could be huge. It gives Classicpro more time, and Hearttt won't notice that either. He just clicked his Trebs, expecting the Trebs to hit the castle. We've got 30 Hussars. Full imp armor, and again, if you just take the Trebs here, Classicpro, you could just avoid the castles for a couple minutes and just raid the sides. Loop over to the right. Boom. Kill villagers. Loop over to the left. Look at this. See all the exposed eco? And even if the villagers didn't come out here, you're gonna break through those houses eventually. The key to Hearttt this whole game has been, are you forcing the issue? Are you killing? Because if you're not, Classicpro's going to do this. This is Classicpro's only win condition, possibly, behind, all his defenses. And Heartt's Vill count is just going to start to struggle so much. And he might start to think about going pikeman or something. But he really isn't floating a lot of res. It was just all Arbalest. You can tell, Heartt's torn now. He wants to go forward. Hitting this area would be huge. But he can't easily do that. This is amazing job for Classicpro. Again, he hasn't been able to take any of his golds on the front. But he's been resourceful. He's found the additional golds. And, Heartt's going to find him here on that one. But Classicpro is a 25 villager lead. Hearttt back on the front with another trap. Classicpro with more Hussars. 55 on food for him. He hasn't researched Burgundian vineyards, by the way. That would be nice in these situations without gold. 160 pop versus 160 pop, but Hearttt will probably lose his castle now in the middle. And Hearttt just hasn't had the presence of mind to check this gold. And he might not even know it's there, to be honest. He knows it's there, and he might be trying to take it at some point himself. We do now have 60 Arbalest for Hearttt. Raiding is awesome, but eventually you do need to trade against the main army of the opponent. And if you don't do that for long enough, then maybe the Arbalest number is going to be too high for you to engage against. I still feel like this is a very reasonable fight. Considering your unit only costs food, it's a perfect fight. You'll take out a Treb, you'll take out some Arbs. Hearttt does have pikemen now. And what does Classicpro do? Well, he's got Trebs on the left side, too, to take out this castle, and he's going for another raid right past it. Just non-stop. Maybe these Trebs need to do a loop-de-loop back into his main eco. 8 villagers on gold there. They'd be saving Classicpro as he continues to stream units into Heartt's base. Hearttt has 55 Arbs still, guys. And Hearttt is going to keep this castle up. At least it looks like it. He's going to take out these Trebs. That's so expensive for Classicpro to lose. And the Arbalest had continued on into Heartt's eco. Classicpro clears that. Still waiting for a moment with these Trebs. And now Heartt's still having to react to Hussar raids, which are happening non-stop. But he's reacting with some of his army, not all of it. And I think that's been so important because he's been able to take out the Trebs from Classicpro. And Heartt's still in this game and still somehow at 102 villagers. Actually hasn't lost as many as I thought he was going to. Now Classicpro's thinking about making more skirms. That will need to catch up on upgrades there, but it makes perfect sense. The skirmishers are needed now. The straight Hussar hasn't been able to at least clear up the middle. You probably can't raid with skirms, right? But you could raid with Hussars, and then you could use Hussars and skirms at home. This is a ridiculous game. And Classicpro's not finished yet. I think Hearttt, he noticed that he was noticed there. But he's like, oh, okay, never mind. He's not going to go for me. He quickly drops a gate to block off those Hussars. And look at these Arbalests chew up these Hussars. Man, not having bloodlines hurts your Hussars so much. It hurts your Cav in general, but in cheaper stable units is awesome, but you really would want that HP at this stage. And Burgundians, they have a lot of bonuses, but they can't say that. Hearttt has 0 Trebs, by the way. He doesn't have any trebuchets at the moment. He doesn't have any siege to push. He's just trying to stabilize everywhere he can, and here he goes for some more walls. Here he drops a TC because he knows he will eventually be found there, and he will find those Hussars. And Hearttt will need an answer to that one Treb there from Classicpro. But Classicpro has 4. I really think these Trebs need to work with this trebuchet on this left-hand side, and he needs to pick his spots. Like, right now would be perfect, actually. Because Hearttt doesn't have bomber cannons or anything. Another area in which Burgundians lack in late game on an open map is their skirmishers. They don't have the final armor, so they will actually die much faster to the Arbalest here. And Classic Pro is also fighting before Bracer and before Chemistry. So these are Castle Age skirmishers. This is not a good fight for Classic Pro. I mean, Heartt's going to see this gold now. But, I mean, there's really only one tile left. And I think if Heartt can just get some siege to finish Classic Pro off, he could do it. He could push right up the middle here if he just brought all his Arbalest and Pikemen into this position. Maybe a time where if Heartt had more stone, he could drop a castle at home. Work with the castle on the front, be happy with that, but then make a castle at home to try and stop your opponent from raiding as you're trying to go for the kill. Anyone else impressed, or let's just say extremely impressed with both players here? Because I thought Classic Pro was dead, and then I thought Heartt was dead, and here we are. And now I think Classic Pro's dead again. He has no gold income. The Hussar and Skirm, I just don't know if it's good enough. Where are those other trebuchets right now? Oh, the trebs are here, but the one on the front went down. Yeah, you could kind of raid on this side, sure. You can do it, Classic Pro, but even if you kill, let's say, 20 villagers in a raid right now, how do you stop Heartt if he goes for the push in the middle right now? Heartt's actually going for Cavalier. What? Bro, just go for the kill. Make trebs. Oh, wait a second. I think the raids are really worrying Heartt. And it's understandable, right? Because you're so exposed on the side. It's completely understandable. He also probably forgot that Classic Pro had these 3 trebs. He's probably thinking that Classic Pro can't realistically push forward anymore. And now he's reminded those trebs exist. If that Bomber Cannon gets sniped, the trebs will maybe stick around here for a while longer. But, oh man, Classic Pro waiting. Push forward now with the Hussars. Go in for the Bomber Cannon now with the Hussars. Classic Pro. There he is. He sees it. Actually could kill a lot of Arbalest here as well. 180 pop for Classic Pro. Feels like he has to win this game to win the series, right? He gets the Bombard Cannon. What an insane game. And he's still got the stables here, so he could still raid as well. Look at all the idle time here for Heartt. Look at all the units, like, trying to deal with the sides. And he just can't deal with the middle anymore. The Heartt clicking Cavalier is a big question mark for me. I felt like maybe he didn't have the confidence to push the middle. This has been Classic Pro fighting without gold for the most part this game. And Classic Pro has a 30 army lead. He has the same amount of villagers. And Classic Pro is going to push this back. The villagers are free to take both the golds all of a sudden. It could even be free to take this. Classic Pro's also been camping this gold. Didn't notice that. There's an archer in that group? Yep, there's an archer in that group. Wow, what a ridiculous performance here from Classic Pro. I mean, such a great job expanding his economy. But such a great job with the raids in this game. And eventually, it just caught up with Heartt. And I think when Heartt clicked Cavalier, that was a sign to me that he didn't think he could push. And he didn't really know what he could do. And this could honestly be game over right now. You've got more Hussars finding woodlines, more Hussars finding villagers. Heartt's Arbalest counts down to 25. There's no way he gets back up to 60, even with the Portuguese. Now Classic Pro has gold. So now Classic Pro can do a variety of different things. He could go for Paladin if he wants to. And dang. Holy crap, what a game there. That was incredible. I thought Classic Pro was so finished. It looked so bad in early Castle Age. 3 TCs, but no army control. Heartt with the faster imp. Only win condition there for Classic Pro was the raids. And, like, I don't know exactly what I would have suggested to Heartt to stop those raids because Classic Pro played so well. A lot of people are going to say walls, but when you're going for the all-in pushes with castles, you don't want to stonewall. And as we've seen over the years, you have to wall every single thing. If you don't wall at all, they're going to find a house or, like, a barracks or a palisade, and they're going to break through. And so your focus is pushing, right? I think there were moments for Heartt, even just like 5 minutes ago, even just like right here. He's got 71 arbs, right? This is when he needs the siege. I honestly, I think he just didn't have the siege. Now, was it because he didn't think of it? No. It's not because he didn't think of it. The dude's, he's got a brain, right? He's probably wants the siege. But the issue was he had so many different things to worry about and all the constant raids from Classic Pro. And it was a constant balance of how many Arbalest do I send home? How many Arbalest do I send forward? Sometimes he send too much forward and too little home. Sometimes he send too much home and too little forward. And it's just a continuous cycle. Impressive from Classic Pro. But yeah, I think like right here, if you've got 4 Bombard Cannons with this many ARBs, I don't think Classic Pro actually had the answer in this instance. But, you know, you fast forward to the end, and then suddenly the ARBs have been picked apart, and then he's lost too much eco, and he's at 120 population. Still a ridiculous comeback, and this will be a ridiculous series. And I don't even... this doesn't even make that much sense to me. Classic Pro somehow had 22 more thousand resources when he couldn't even take his main golds. You know, that said, he did sell a lot, the market I noticed, which would contribute to this. But just a great display of being able to expand your economy and raid while under immense amount of pressure. He lost so many castles at his base. How did he survive that one? And you know what? Another thing, just small thing before we move into the next game. I think there's also a world where maybe Hearttt just needed to just dive into this area with Arbalest. Like when this game ended and he looked at this and he looked at this, he probably was like, oh my God, he had no castles there. What was I doing? It's uncommon because normally you want to go with Arbalest and Trebuchets. But I think that, you know, the only way that Classic Pro's beating you is if he has all that farming eco. And maybe when he had 70 ARBs, he just needed to run in. And if you do that, then Classic Pro might not be able to make the rest of the RB. But again, that's an uncomfortable feeling with the ARBs. Normally you're pushing with Siege. It's just is a really good game. There's not a lot of right and wrongs in that one. It was a great competitive Age of Empires 2 game. Alrighty. So welcome, ladies and gents, to the game that's going to decide it all. No, it's not. But how many times do you see someone in the best of 5 go down 2-1 and come back to win a series? When it's this close, the level... I don't know. It's very difficult. We have Classic Pro playing as the Lithuanians. Lithuanians, I feel, are the better of the 2 civilizations. Slightly better. And we've seen some unique strategies with them as well. Lix and Yo, namely going for the fast castles, which I don't think we'll see Classic Pro do here. Lithuanians have some crazy peaks. And actually, you know, you're right, Doof. Maybe there are more instances that are coming to my mind right now where someone goes down 2-1 and comes back to win 3-2. It's not as bad as like a 3-1 in the best of 7. But when the level is this close, game 3, statistically speaking, I'm sure becomes a pretty important game. I don't know. Especially if it's like the previous game where it's back and forth. But maybe that's just a classic caster thing where I'm just speaking out of my ass. But Hearttt picked this map, and Hearttt drafted Japanese first. And that is a bit of a surprise to me. Like, this actually tells me that Hearttt values the Japanese over the Lithuanians. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. I think that he values the Japanese over the Lithuanians because his man-at-arm archer play is extremely oppressive and aggressive. It's really strong. And Japanese are the civilization that can do that the best. They also have plenty of relevant bonuses to fish as well here. So if we're not seeing Hearttt go for the early man-at-arm into archer play, I would maybe prefer the Lithuanians. And again, Lithuanians, they have the ability to go fast feudal. Lithuanians always get the dock up faster than the opponent if they use this build order. So it's just a faster start for Lithuanians. And then if it gets to Castle Age, we've got... in Castle Age, you've got the monks, and you've got the skirms, and then you've got the knights. And I actually think the scout is killing a vill here. No. Okay, scout got hit by a villager, actually. Maybe Classic Pro had considered killing that villager. But anyways, we continue on. T90 talking about pivotal games, auditioning to be a baseball announcer. Dude, I've never been more offended in my entire life. Of all the things to pivot to announce, you think that I would do baseball? Actually, I like baseball a lot. But really? Isn't it just like a sports commentator in general that talks about pivotal games? It is a pivotal game. Don't get me wrong. And I still stand by what I said. I think that these are both high-class civilizations that are almost always picked on this map. These players are extremely close. I think it's going to be very difficult to come back if you go 2-1 down. Now, this could be Curse of the Commentator, and maybe later on we're going to see a crazy comeback from somebody, but it feels like an important one here. Doc is over in the west here for Classic Pro. So he'll have 3 or 4 fishing ships here. Sometimes you'll see Lithuanians even go up to 5, despite going for feudal age pressure. And then Hearttt has docked the east. So we have docks on either side. Classic Pro Scout is a little weak. But he scouted that dock, and this is the biggest fear I have when up against the Lithuanians. This is also why I feel like that build order we've seen from Lix and Yo has worked. Because everyone's so paranoid. Everyone's just freaking out about this strategy that they prep for it, and then they don't realize you're going fast castle, and then by the time they do realize you're going fast castle, you're in trouble. But yeah, I practiced the build for this, and I really was thinking, I don't know if I can lose with this. Like, how on earth could you possibly stop it? The key is you have to send the villager extremely early. In fact, I think Classic Pro sent the villager even earlier than I've seen before. Hey, you just got to get the dock down before they can ever do anything about it. But on the other side, Classic Pro scouting the barracks from Hearttt, and this is why I think Hearttt likes the Japanese. And the good news for the Japanese is if you lose your fish, if your fish start to get attacked, you're not going to lose those fishing ships as fast because your fishing ships are armored. Now, I actually, I don't know if it's me getting old, but I actually have enjoyed baseball the past year. I think it's just the pace at which it runs. It can be intense, but it's just really relaxed. Like, I don't need to pay attention to every second. Also, it's a lot more strategic than I ever knew. So Classic Pro knows there's going to be militia, so he has to somehow defend all of this eco, which is going to be extremely awkward. And then he also has to get the dock down. Now, normally you check right about now if you're Hearttt, see if there's a dock, and then think about it. But, like, you're not expecting the dock to be up yet. You're not expecting your opponent to be up the fuselage this much faster than you. And so now Heartt's probably like, well, crap. Do I even make this fourth fishing ship? What do I do? Look at these walls from Classic Pro. I have to credit the scouting again. He scouted exactly where Heartt's dock was. He scouted that Hearttt is going for the man-at-arms. And so he has walled in towards the TC. The only thing that is awkward in these instances is players don't normally have a lot of villagers underneath their TC. So you can sometimes just run past it because when they garrison, there's not going to be many arrows from that town center. The walling towards the town center isn't actually that good if the player's really aggressive here. And I'd be curious to see what Hearttt does because I think Hearttt will be upset that he's going to lose his fish. And, I mean, he's going to try and defend, which he might be able to. But yeah, maybe Hearttt will feel desperate because he starts to lose on water. And then from there, he'll just dive underneath this. It doesn't seem like he's going to do that, though. Again, very well played here from Classic Pro. But also well played from Hearttt. Hearttt sending a villager this direction. So Hearttt able to expand fishing economy if he needs to. Heartt's first fire galley will be out in a moment. But I think he saw the second dock, so I think... Well, never mind. He did queue up another fire galley. I was going to say he's going to stop after that. One fishing ship down for Hearttt. We still have 4 fishing ships for Classic Pro. I want to look at Hearttt scouting, guys. And Hearttt hasn't scouted the water at all. Because I think if Hearttt would have scouted that, something that would maybe even make more sense than this, and he might still do it, is send a villager here to kill those fishing ships. We've got 3 fire galleys versus 1. Hearttt is repairing there. Heartt's also blocking with the fishing ships. This is what Japanese can do. The fishing ships are so strong. Classic Pro's got to be careful here. Heartt's villager also has to be careful. And oh, boy. Oh, disaster for Hearttt. And Classic Pro should take all the fish. Classic Pro could even take the Vill. And then meanwhile over here, Classic Pro has continued to defend. And he's on an archer range now. So we could make some archers too. Hearttt also on an archer range. Hearttt already has archers out. And Hearttt also did save that villager as well. So that's a big investment for Classic Pro to kill fish. But he has killed fish, and he can fish here now himself. I really would like to see Hearttt actually use his scout to scout the ponds here, because there's still so much potential and time. And Classic Pro is going to see this archer from Hearttt. And Hearttt could lose this archer to that very weak scout. And it'd be so devastating if he loses this archer, because he was faster to the range, but he loses it. And here he comes with a Vill, but this is just lack of scouting here, guys. He has not confirmed that Classic Pro is down here. He is assuming it. Again, not horrible for Hearttt. He's added 3 fishing ships in the north. We have to commend him for that. It's a 4-0 eco KD, a 7-0 total KD. That's painful, but still could be okay here. I'd like to see Classic Pro add fishing ships here. And Classic Pro can now start to shift and maybe focus a little bit on land. He's out of the tower here, which I love. It is next to a lot of your wood and a lot of your gold, so just don't take any risks when you're ahead with the fish. And then the scout from Classicpro will probably go down to Hearttt scout there. Still Classicpro defending, and I'll be curious to see how quickly Hearttt adds fishing ships in the south once he realizes, if he realizes, that Classicpro isn't there. Because I think he's just going to add fires here. Yeah. But it's not the end of the world. And actually, check it out. Heartt's sending the other villager this way. It's surprising to me that Classicpro hasn't had more fishing ships here. It's going to be 6 for Hearttt and 6 for Classicpro. And Classicpro really focusing. He probably feels like I've done a good enough job. Let's now focus on lands. Oh, man. Classicpro with the quick walls here. Oh, man. Villager survives. And the best part about this is that Classicpro now knows that Hearttt is coming over here with the villager so he can make fire galleys to defend his fish. Again, Hearttt is hoping to surprise his opponent here. And now he's probably going to be like, oh, there's nothing here? Oh, got it. I love the pros and cons on this map, though. There's so much happening so far. We only have had 9 kills in this game, but so many different important movements have happened from both players, both in defense and offense. It's been a better game for Classicpro, obviously, but there's just pros and cons all the time, right? The Man-at-Arm Archer play had a lot of pro. And there's the con is you've obviously lost your fish. Now you're coming back on water. Classicpro has to respect that, but also Classicpro has to respect land. Hearttt will be able to fish here. This has been a really nice recovery from him. And Hearttt, still going to fish the north. And also going to go double dock contest in this area. I think now Classicpro, he should be thinking about counterattacking Hearttt in some way on land. He's been able to kill the man-at-arms. He has fletching. He even has armor right now, but he's just chasing down 2 archers. I don't love this decision. I think Classicpro might regret it because he's giving Hearttt some momentum. Archer did come over here earlier. Sorry I missed it. It killed the villager that was here. But that was maybe to be expected. And Classicpro wants to head up towards Castle Age. Could be why he's playing so safe. Let's see if Hearttt can track him here. Heartt's pretty open right now. But isn't it... I think it's just the difference between the two. Like, Heartt's always sending the next army forward. He's always going to be walling later. And here he's finding a lot of reward for that. We'll kill this villager. Classicpro will be frustrated with himself. But also, Classicpro will be pretty darn happy he's going to get this archer kill. And now Heartt's got to run home. Or run to his TC, I guess, and go for some damage control. And he is walling up. This is a great game. Both these players deserve to be in Platinum League, man. Only one gets to make it. Competition is tight. The Classicpro on the way up. Here he has to defend his fish, and he will do so. Very nicely, in fact. Classicpro was going to send a villager this way to dock, but that was the villager that got killed, I believe. He had 2 walling initially, and then that vill started to be clicked towards the corner. So I think he'll probably try that again. And Classicpro needs to make sure he's not sitting next to the dock with weak ships. Hearttt will make sure he kills those, so maybe Hearttt will do that soon. Classicpro might also feel like I'm good now. I don't need more fish. I will let Hearttt have his fish, and let's just go for knights, monks, and whatever else in the middle. Heartt's struggling to keep track of this archer army. He is sending skirms back. The Classicpro could find a lot of villager kills. That's 5 archers and damage control time for Hearttt, as he adds a house here. And honestly, just trade the archers against villagers here if you're Classicpro. You see there's skirms out. You're probably switching to knights anyways. Just kill as many vills as you can. And he's going to get rewarded here. This is going to be a 7th eco kill. Might not end up getting any more. Well played from him. And I think something that I've found on this map is players really struggle to have a valuable number of archers to upgrade when they make it to Castle Age. It's almost always like you lose all your ranged units, and then how much food and gold do you have for knights and monks? That's just been the theme this season. I don't know if that's always the case, but that is essentially the same situation for both players right now, which is why I think Classicpro killing those villagers there is so valuable. There are some instances where you want to just have your archers alive. The Classicpro will click War Galley. Classicpro... Ooh! So he had tasked the villager to build this dock, and then go to the shorefish immediately afterwards. But what happens is if if a villager's doing its initial task and then it gets bumped or attacked in any ways, it forgets that task and tries to do the next task. So that was on 38 HP out of 40 a second ago. So, which tells me it just got bumped by a fire and Classicpro didn't notice. We might remember that, right? Because Classicpro could have actually finished that dock. No way. Hold on a second. No way he actually... Okay, I guess, I don't know. He's focused on this right now. He did get crossbow. And there's a hole! There's a hole for Hearttt! Oh, man. Painful. It was already going to be rough for him here, right? But now more losses. And these are unnecessary losses, but this is what happens on a map where all this pressure is coming all the time. We've got monks on the way for Classicpro as well. The Lithuanian monastery works faster. And oh man, the crossbow upgrade and the extra range units to pay off here. Hearttt will lose 2 knights before he kills 1 in this situation. Also lose all his range units in the middle if Classicpro chooses to engage there. Oh, that needs to be a delete. Oh, okay, Hearttt gets a conversion. Heartt's got 4 knights now. And Classicpro is dropping TC number 2 and TC number 3. So it's just the style of these two, right? Hearttt will play open and aggressive. Classicpro loves his defense and eco. And he probably feels like he's done a decent enough job now to fish, but it's really only been 1 pond. Hearttt now has 3, and Hearttt has 10 fishing ships with the potential for more over here if he were to compete for that pond. Very easy to make mistakes right now if you're Classicpro. You might want relics, which would excite you, but you also need to get conversions more than anything. And here, he's going to get 1. You could maybe even end up getting 2 if Hearttt doesn't run away. But all right. Where are the relics, by the way? It seems like the relics are kind of scattered in random spots. Oh, that's so good from Hearttt, guys. He waited till the last second there, and he gets the conversion back again. And now he chooses to dive on another monk. And I don't like that from Hearttt. I don't like this at all. Initially, I liked it. I guess he doesn't lose 2 knights. Maybe it's not too bad in the end. A lot of monks are going to go down on both sides here. I guess if Hearttt would have lost 2 knights there, I would have hated it a lot more. And he's added a scout here. Here he's going for a conversion. He doesn't get it. But he's killing more monks. And Hearttt with 19 army. A lot of that's navy. But Hearttt still has more army on the field. It's just that there's 3 TCs for Classicpro. He's expanding his farming eco. And he's even falling back to another monastery. And I know it's easy to say now, but Classicpro was not thinking straight when he made this monastery, man. I think he initially wanted to go all in aggressive. I think he wanted to go like forward siege. So he's like, siege and monks in the middle, let's go. But now this monastery is really bad. I mean, making the other monasteries good so you can get more monks out. But I wouldn't even make more monks here. I'm not even sure how you can possibly get these monks out and get a conversion. Because what Hearttt has done here is Hearttt is sitting here. It might look like he's right-clicked that monastery down, but the scouts on attack stance, ready to attack immediately when units pop out. And hello? Okay, there we go. I guess a conversion came in that maybe shouldn't have. And Classicpro just ends up deleting the knight, but I still don't know if it's completely worth losing that much. So he's got a hold now. Just adding vills and just adding monks. Hearttt, he might think about a second town center once he collects 5 more stone from that vill. Heartt's got 4 monks right now. Potential for more, but he's got 17 on food. 13 of that is fishing ships. We have 33 on food for Classicpro. He's got a great land economy. So Heartt's got the lead with the army, but can he make it? Can he make that army make a difference? Extremely tough when you've got town centers and monks around, right? I like the sanctity upgrade from Classicpro. And I like what was the 3rd monastery in this game, but the 2nd one at home. I think normally you'd want to maybe make light cav here if you're Hearttt. So we'll see if he goes that route. I see him making scouts now. Going in with 1 scout's just not going to be it. But this is smart. He's trying to lure the knight towards his monks. Could even see atonement, especially if you're floating that much gold. I think atonement for both players could swing the game. There's Hearttt with his 2nd town center. And my God, these guys are so good. The competition's just so close. Gotta be careful here, Hearttt. You don't want to lose monks to the tower. And careful he is. Classicpro is careful too. Classicpro now has no stables. Can't even make knights as the Lithuanians. Atonement is in, so now the possibility to convert other monks is there. And we see barracks being dropped for Classic Pro. And with that food eco, could easily see him being in a spot to make pikemen. Does need to save his monks here. Forgot about these two. Whoop! Saves them, actually. Lots of idle villagers. Lots of villagers running around. Pikemen are speedy with Lithuanians and strong, but you still need the numbers. Now the monks pop out. Surprise, Hearttt! I might not have a stable anymore, but I can convert your units. Let's go. Still really good from Hearttt. Lycav was a little late here. I think he could have been a little bit more successful with this attack had he had Lycav earlier. But he's got +2 armor on his knights. He's diving constantly. And there's just idols on idols on idols for Classic Pro. The thing is, though, if he ever stabilizes, then he's going to have pikemen for days. He's going to have monks that can get rid of all the monks from Hearttt. He just needs to stabilize. And he needs to hope his town center fire catches up and kills some of these units. Some brutal losses here, but he's still got a pretty sizable lead. Maybe hop out on the right with the villagers that are in the TC. Put those in the TC because they're weaker. This is crazy. Heartt's got more knight production, more Lycav production. He's got the siege workshop going for the kill here with the Rams. Let's see, though, if the monks for Classic Pro can survive. Heartt's doing so well with his Lycav. But there's so many monks inside of that town center yet. There's 6 monks inside of that town center. If Classic Pro can get the monks out right now, this will swing right back. What a hold. Oh, yep. I'll take that monk. Thank you very much. I'll take your other monks, too. Classic Pro's just forgotten that he has those other monks out there right now, guys. But he's got 13 pikemen. And, you know, Hearttt behind this is on 2 town centers. He's got villagers heading somewhere, maybe for a 3rd. But at the very least, it doesn't seem like Heartt's ram push is going to accomplish much. Man, Classic Pro, send out your monks, bro! This fight's going so much worse than it should. Oh, my God. If he had the monks there, he would have cleared it all. His Heartt's monks were healing a lot of the pikemen. He also converted a couple pikemen. Getting redemption now. Now the monks are out. There we go. But, you know, players can do a lot with time. And so if Hearttt has time to catch up in that Vill number and correct his economy, he could maybe switch into pikemen himself. He could get some of the monk upgrades we've already seen from Classic Pro. Not clearing it up right there obviously makes things awkward for him. Also, Classic Pro, like, he's really going to struggle to get control over these stones and golds here. And look at Hearttt now using this map control, getting some nice raids in. Uh-oh. Redemption and atonement in. Siege and monks can be converted here. Classic Pro honestly should just go for the monks. Go for the monks and go for the knights if you can. This is the clear that I had expected a moment ago. Obviously, there's siege involved now. So that is it slightly changed things. But great job from Classic Pro to finally put an end to this. It still could convert some monks here. I'm not sure. This is such a random fight. I'm not even sure that Hearttt realized that atonement was in until just now. And redemption being in is nice too, because you can just convert all these buildings. Yeah, look. That monk being converted, Hearttt doesn't seem to know. It's too random of a fight. He just has no clue what's happening. 10 monks for Classic Pro. Hearttt has 0. And there's 29 pikemen on the field for Classic Pro. And he's got some siege now, too. It's not bad, right? Also, a lot of those pikemen are over here. Holy crap. How does Classic Pro survive these attacks? These attacks from Hearttt are brutal. Clearly, he's got a style, though. I knew that these guys would be close, but Classic Pro prefers to boom on the TCs and go for the eco approach. Hearttt prefers to go for the kill in early castle. And, well, early feudal if you count game 1. And it's a fun style to, fun matchup to watch, right? Classic Pro should be able to click up to the Imperial Age here, and I'm worried for Hearttt now. Like I said, Lithuanians just feel better as the game goes on. That could be part of it as well. That could be part of his thinking and going for this strategy. But, I mean, unless Hearttt finds some significant Vill kills here and keeps Classic Pro on the run, I think he's going to have some problems. He is going to try now, right? You don't want to be engaging against the pikemen. You need to kill villagers. This is your avenue for that. So that could work. Also, Classic Pro doesn't exactly have a way to kill you right now unless he brings in siege. And here we go. Fortune coming in for Hearttt. Knights are going to be a whole lot stronger with that. Takes one less hit to kill the villagers. Gets a couple kills here. I imagine Classic Pro will send pikemen home or make new pikemen to deal with this. But unnecessary losses for Classic Pro. Hearttt is going to pass Classic Pro and Villagers. Heartt's now also dropping a castle, which is a little awkward, right? We'll see if that one goes up. Great job from Heartt here. He's still stuck in Castle Age for what seems like forever, though. He's trying to switch back into Archers as well. And that range actually gets converted. Now the Archers pop out. They're very confused. They're like, what? Mom and Dad, you sold the house? What? Oh, okay. Kicked out of the house. Horrible. They're angry. They're just going to grow up to go kill innocent villagers now. Look what you did, Mom and Dad. Oh, and then they died young. So sad. A million different things happening right now, but I still have to give Classic Pro an advantage. He's got 31 pikes. I'm not seeing an answer to the pikemen. He has the ability to make trebs, which he will do out of this castle, assuming he completes it. He has crazy amounts of monks on the field, which can always get value. And it just feels like, as the pikeman's actually going to kill a fire ship, feels like there's just no way for Heartt to get back in this game unless Classic Pro makes a big mistake. Big mistake could happen here. Obviously, we'll see. Doesn't really feel like it. Feels like the pikeman alone could be enough there. But, like, Heartt's going to look at this and say, oh my goodness, how did I lose this game? He's killed 54 eco and lost 17 up to this point. Again, Classic Pro. You know, you've got this game, my friends. Maybe, you know, look over here for a second and make sure you actually complete this castle. I'm sure he's doing other things, and I can't blame him too much for that, but kind of important that you don't lose all your pikemen underneath the TC, and kind of important that you get this castle up. He's certainly giving Heartt more of a way back into this. There we go. Castle goes up. Now the trebs can come out, and the GG's called. Scores 2-1 now, chat. What a ridiculous game this is, and this series is tight. And I can't really say that Heartt did a lot wrong here. I think Heartt surpassed my expectations in terms of the damage that he was able to do in this game. Because the initial strat from Classic Pro to get on his pond that fast was incredible. Heartt still was somehow even on fishing ships. The initial defense from Classic Pro against Heartt's aggression was also incredible. Heartt still able to be competitive on land, kill villagers in feudal. He killed more villagers than Classic Pro did, at least up until they were both on the way to Castle Age. And then Heartt was able to take 3 of the 4 ponds. And not to mention in Castle Age with the Light Cav and the Knights and all that, that was very strong. And I think you just got to credit Classic Pro for being able to fall back onto the 3 town centers again, get those farms rolling, and then realizing, even when things went south, that I need to hold on here. I have the lead. A couple conversions and a pikeman switch can do it for me. And he was able to make it happen. Maybe the issue for Heartt was the area he was pressuring. Like, maybe this isn't the area you want to pressure. Maybe you want to pressure the hill, right? Because, like, I actually would have loved that, right? Maybe have 5 to 10 villagers on stone here as you're pressuring, and you can go guard tower, and you could have the hill as you pressure the TCs. Or, you know, maybe he needed to... Excuse me, sorry. Maybe he didn't have to have all of his knights in the same spot. Maybe he could have raided while also doing that. But, I mean, again, look at the eco KD. Heartt did a ton of damage in this game. So, I think it's just Classic Pro's an insanely good player. And also, Lithuanians maybe have more options than Japanese. And Classic Pro was very resourceful in using them. 39,000 resources collected there for Classic Pro in total. Obviously, a lot more food and wood. Very similar to the previous game. And Heartt now needs to win 2 straight to be able to move on to Platinum. Classic Pro needs 1 more victory to move back to Platinum League where he was in the first season. All right, this is the exact matchup we saw between Tato and Sato in their important series to close out Platinum League. Classic Pro, the Gujaras, a civilization that just dominates with their stable units. And actually, let's just say they're unique units in general. I guess their camels aren't necessarily a unique unit. They are unique in that it can make the, they have the Camel Scout and can make camels in Feudal Age, though. And Classic Pro going for the early mill, which you would normally do with the Gujaras, so you can garrison the sheep inside the mill. Heartt won't be doing any of that funky shenanigans with Berbers, but Berbers have very cheap stable units. And I, you know, I'm not proud of a lot of predictions I make, you know. But I told Dave at the start of the Gurjara Berber game with Sato and Tato, I said, we're going to see a crap ton of camels. And we saw a crap ton of camels. We saw like 210 camels in one game. Because the Berbers don't get Halberdier, so you never really want to go pikeman. I mean, you can, but you never really want to. And then the Gurjaras can't even get pikemen. And yeah, the Berbers get knights, but do you really want to make knights when the Gurjara camels do more bonus damage? No. And the Gurjaras don't get knights in the first place. So I think there's a world where we could see archers, like crossbowmen in the mid-game. But even then, neither civilization gets Arbalest. So I expect camels and conversions and a lot of economy. And I think that's going to be the key here for Hearttt. It's like, can he get the balance down with the economy? By the way, this generation, this might be a very short game. Check this out. There's a lot of open land over here. But in that open land, there's not much gold. Now, both players do have some golds on the sides. But they're going to probably come down below the hill for the wood lines. They're not going to be far from each other at all. And in that area, it's just like all the gold, it feels like. As well as a big chunk of stone there, too. So, I mean, look around and see if Heartt's got a lot of stone. I think this is actually two neutral stones that ended up being next to each other. Because you see how they're 3 tiles? I think that these are the other 2 3-tile stones that just are like, boop, we're twins. Or, I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's twins, but like, yeah, anyways. I think you get my point. So yeah, it could be a shorter game. And also, it could be important that players locate that and then place their second town centers in the safe positions. Now, I know it's a bit of a hike for Hearttt to get over there, but he's from Peru, right? Aren't there a lot of good hiking spots in Peru? He should be fine. And Berber villagers are faster. So if he knows about this, which again, he probably won't scout for now, he could just head on over there, drop a TC, and I'd like to see Classicpro maybe drop his TCs there. But you're always going to take the shortest path to get your lumber camp up. And so maybe for now we'll see Classicpro lumber camp the hill, but eventually he's going to want this woodline probably. It's right next to everything, and I'm expecting both players to go for scouts here. And if it plays out like Tatso and Sato, I think we'll see lots of scouts and lots of spears and feudal, and then transition towards castle. Peru is indeed very mountainous. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go to Peru specifically someday, but I want to hit up some of those mountains, you know? There's a lot of my bucket list items. I just want to hike. I got to get in better shape for some of these mountains. Let's be honest. The streamer life hasn't exactly put me in a position to be in tip-top shape for that. But no, I definitely would love to check out some of the Mayan ruins, the Incan Trail. You know, there's a pretty long list. But yeah, maybe someday. And I'll get to hang out with Hearttt, maybe, you know? That's the main reason I'd ever want to go down there. Is get to see my boy Hearttt. I'm only half kidding. If it was convenient, I'd definitely get a beer with him. And we could talk about this comeback to make it into Platinum League. That's what we'll be chatting about, right? We'll see. Heartt's going to go man-at-arms. He's like, all right, scouts don't exist for me. Game 1, man-at-arm, victory. Game 2, man-at-arm, loss. Game 3, man-at-arm, loss. And he's going to go man-at-arms again here. I made a comment out at some point about how he loves to do it. But I was thinking at least on this map he would go scouts. No, apparently not. If it goes to Game 5, I doubt he'll go man-at-arms on Scandinavia. But he might do it. I don't know. Crazy food eco for Classicpro. And normally I would say that, oh, Classicpro, he wants platinum so bad. He wants platinum so bad he's going to steal the cows. You don't want to run too far away from the cows because they'll turn blue. Oh, but if they turn blue, you can kill them. No way. Oh, that's 300 food down the drain for Hearttt. That hurts so bad. But Classicpro ran underneath the TC. Hearttt garrisoned to shoot the arrows, guys. But in the process of garrisoning, and I still have to pay attention to this, he then didn't have villagers to hold on to those cows. If he had one villager still standing there, it would have stayed blue. They would have never run away. That was really good from Classicpro. And frustrating for Hearttt, I'm sure. Especially since Classicpro has now had amazing damage control here to keep his villagers alive. So laming is allowed. It's in the rules. You could steal boars too if you want to. We haven't seen it happen frequently. Let's see if Classicpro could do damage control here too, because he knows the man-at-arms are coming. This woodline is extremely awkward at the moment, and he's going to have to keep his scouts alive as well. No palisade walls yet. Oh, he's going to fight it off, I think. I think he's like, bring it on. Bring it on here, buddy. Go ahead and try and kill a villager. My villagers are strong. Bajara villagers aren't scared of you. There's no bonuses that are at play here, by the way. It's not like they regen like poles or have more HP or anything. But yeah, they're just kind of both standing there waiting to see if Hearttt will engage. Hearttt will bring forward the spear and he'll bring forward an archer. You watched game 1, very similar situation, right? And here we have the fight be taken, and that's a perfect fight for Classicpro, my god. He even used the camel scout on the scout because of the bonus damage, and he clears everything. 4 kills, 0 deaths, and now that this lonely spearman, lonely archer play should also not work. Especially if it doesn't attack here for Hearttt. And Hearttt is going to lose the spearman. He takes out a scout, and he takes out the camel scout, but he's going to lose his archer as well. And now what is Hearttt stuck with at home? He's got 1 archer. 1 single archer. The man-at-arm builds, guys, it's all about timing. And I know they're closer together here, but I had mentioned that I really feel like scout play on this map makes more sense in the long term. Classicpro with some crazy damage control, some crazy aggression and laming there, and he is in the driver's seat in this one. Not the opening that you would want if you're going man-at-arms. Classicpro, he just doesn't hesitate. And look at the blocking here against Berber villagers, doesn't get it. Berbers save Hearttt there. Good job from Hearttt as he needs to settle down, breathe a little bit. Kind of sounds like a villager being created. Did you guys know that that's just them taking a deep breath? Did you know that's what it was? It's the entire town just, you know, just trying to relax. Anyways, 3 scouts now headed this way. And Hearttt could find some value here with those 4 archers. As long as he skirts past the scouts. Here he's got villagers being attacked. Faster Berber villagers. Speed, hype. Classicpro. Trying, killing. Killed 1. Didn't track these archers, though. Oh, but he's going to kill more as well. If he wasn't Berbers, Hearttt might be completely dead right now. He's going to end up losing 2. Losing 3, excuse me. As he's still struggling to even get the spear numbers right now at home. He hasn't added more spearmen. I think he's just really rattled at the moment. And Classicpro is in the driver's seat. Classicpro has 6 scouts with more on the way. He goes in, he kills another archer. He's going to take that spearman. And oh man, 12 to 5 KD for Classicpro right now. Classicpro was one of my favorites to be promoted initially. Hearttt was in that conversation in his group. We can talk more about that immediately after this. Classicpro was one of my favorites to come back. Again, had he won 1 more game in the first season of Plat, he would have been in Platinum for this season as well. Hearttt. You see the difference in how slow the villagers are here? Heartt's like, thank God he's not Berbers. Hearttt kills 1. And those scouts might be tempted to loop on home to put a stop to this, which will allow Hearttt to breathe a little bit, and maybe allow him to send the next force forward, which could make life awkward here for Classicpro. Because Classicpro hasn't gone skirms yet, guys. So if Hearttt goes really heavy spearman with the archers, it could be really tough for Classicpro to take good engagements. Yeah, Hearttt sees this. I would love to see Hearttt make more spears. On Arabia, you don't normally make more spears because they're going skirms. But in this situation with this many scouts, make more spears, man. Classicpro's also got some pretty weak scouts in here, we should say. He knows that, so he's trying to keep the weak ones on the side. And ultimately, it's a good clear from him. And he actually opted for a tower on his woodline, and a nice save there on the weak vill. A tower seems like a really good decision, because he needed the wood to be protected so he could make the archer range. I think maybe a situation for Hearttt to make his own tower here, right behind all this. It's not a very Hearttt thing to do. A spearman getting some pokes here. Okay, good micro from Hearttt. Again, the spearman would be so nice, but maybe now he feels like Classicpro will add the range, so he shouldn't do it. Hearttt should probably keep some spearmen at home or wall in that lumber camp, but here he goes with spearmen and archers. Classicpro still really doesn't want to have to fight this. But the good news for him would be that Hearttt hasn't really found any valuable eco. Heartt's not in the heart of Classicpro's economy. But But Hearttt will see the archer range now, know that it's going to be skirmishers. Classicpro shows up with a counter. What a great recovery from Hearttt, and what a good game here, guys. Yes, Classicpro has the lead, but that can all change right now. And, I mean, again, it's the HP on these scouts, man. This is like half of a scout army. They've seen some things. They've lived a good life, but I don't know how much value they'll find. Lots of farms had to be abandoned here by Classicpro as he scrambles up his blacksmith, getting fletching now. Will have skirms. And now Heartt's army is also starting to look like it won't gain as much value. But Hearttt has good food eco. Hearttt knows what's good against skirms, and he's adding a stable to go scouts, and it feels like a really good play. The only thing that sucks for him is if his opponent sees that, his opponent will just give up on skirms and just make some more of their own scouts. Look at Hearttt try and track this army. He knows it could be anywhere. Classicpro runs in, finds more army, runs away. Great game here, guys. The games have been really good on Acropolis. I've enjoyed it. There's some people don't necessarily enjoy playing it, but I just love how much Feudal Age army we've seen. I don't know if we'll have Acropolis in the 3rd season, but I might have a map where there's a lot of rock terrain where you just can't full wall, you know? But it's so nice, too, because, like, players would probably wall in a circle if their wood lines weren't so crappy on the hill. So a lot of it comes down to the fact that you don't have wood lines and also you can't wall easily. All right, so Hearttt is hoping this scout play will be somewhat of a surprise. Classicpro's getting armor, but so is Hearttt. And I think you really need to keep your spearmen and archers alive here if you're Hearttt. At least the archers need to be alive so they can contribute more. It's easier to control scout archer than it is to control spearmen right now. And Hearttt takes his fight. Classicpro just diving in with his skirms against the archers. And that's a really good fight for Hearttt. Look at that. And Hearttt dashing forward here to... I don't know how good it was, actually. Hearttt dashing forward here to try and make a tower. And oh, it was so close, wasn't it? Initially, when they'd gone into the fight, my thought was that it was going to be better for Classicpro. And then when the fight finished, it looked like it was better for Hearttt. Classicpro struggled with his skirmishers to hit those archers here. Again, archers do damage versus scouts. Skirmishers don't really do much damage. So that's going to be the difference maker here. Which is why these 5 archers get so much more value here for Hearttt. His tower idea, though, didn't work out. Also, did he lose the stone there? I think he lost the stone there, guys. I think he maybe lost the foundation to attack from Classicpro. So now Hearttt can't tower at home. Classicpro has more scouts than Hearttt here. He's still got the skirmishers. Hearttt does have forging. Neither player has bloodlines, which is going to be incoming at some point. And still very close fight. Hearttt has to win these fights because Hearttt cannot tower now. It was a nice idea initially. You get that tower up, it's obviously wonderful, but he just didn't have the control. And oh man, the skirmishers are able to pick off archers. Hearttt continues to make the archers, knowing he needs it because his scout number is lower than what Classicpro has. Classicpro just diving in time after time with the skirms. This could be it. If all these archers go down, and Classicpro has more scouts coming in, there's a lot of weak villagers here. Classicpro's microing down those archers very nicely. And Heartt's with no archers and no tower and all these villagers being around. Oh, it's just not going to look so good. I think we really need to see a second stable from both players. I can't check Classicpro at the moment. I'm going to assume that Classicpro's done that already. Yeah, he's been on 2. He's going to 3. Hearttt is still on 1. And Heartt's eco is all out of whack right now, guys. Might be a situation where Heartt's only chance is to YOLO to Castle Age. But he would need a market for that to buy food. 44 to 41 KD. Eco KD's 4-1. But the eco upgrades have looked really solid for Classicpro. And he's just going to have more scout numbers. Not having forging surprises me, but I guess it's not that big a deal when you have... you're producing so many scouts at the moment. Patience from Classicpro. He knows he has the lead. Both players are going to understand the situation. Hearttt knows this could be it for him. The skirmishers from Classicpro will probably die. So he'll try and whittle down the spears with them. And this final engagement for them. Trying his best. Extra spearmen from Hearttt actually could come out now because skirmishers aren't there. But we actually have Classicpro making some archers too. Now, Heartt's getting Bloodlines. He has 4 scouts. It's 10 for Classic Pro, though, which is the concern. Again, if you could maybe get a market and buy food and click up to castle, even if you lose 5 more villagers, or in a crazy world, even 10 more villagers, maybe if you have all-in knights in Castle Age, you could just recoup all that loss. But, I mean, even if you clicked up now, you'd be 3 minutes from the next age. So, you could lose so much in that time. It looks like Classic Pro actually going to use the market himself, balance it up, and go Castle Age. That's a smart decision, honestly, because Heartt has done a really good job to recover with army numbers here. And so now he'll be able to go up. Now, he can't make knights. He can only make camels, which is kind of funny. So, again, I think Heartt could continue to make spears, like, as long as the archers aren't there, obviously. But still, having camels and then the Shravamsha Rider, too, can be helpful for raids. It's never a bad thing. And I also love how Classic Pro continues to make scouts, right? Light Cav upgrade is going to be important. Forging upgrade. Wood upgrade, too. He didn't have that. Okay. Gets onto the hill, takes the fight, backs away. Heartt clicks up as well. Holy cow. How are these guys doing this? These guys are truly incredible. Again, it would be really sad for me not to see a Game 5. And it's going to be a bummer for me not to see one of these 2 players not move on to Platinum. My thoughts going into today was that Classic Pro, he has so much more tourney experience over the last 2 years. Skill level is very even. I think you could even say Heartt's peak could be greater than Classic Pro. It's possible. It's all speculative, though. I really felt like having that extra tourney experience was going to make the difference between the 2. Here comes Heartt. There's actually 2 towers here from Classic Pro. What a move. He even has archers inside of those towers. That's funny. Yeah, Classic Pro is... I mean, he got smashed in the first game. 22-minute game. That's not easy to come back from mentally, and he was able to do that. Classic Pro in Castle Age now at 30 minutes. Much slower than we normally see. He clicks Light Cav, he clicks Husbandry. And he's here to defend from Heartt. Heartt didn't realize that the scouts would be there, so that counterattack might not offer much. And it was actually a good decision from Heartt. He figures, well, he's going to be upgraded, so let's just take the fight. And Classic Pro pulls away from the fight slightly, and now Heartt will have to run. We do see Shravamshas and Camels now for Classic Pro. Heartt needs to go all in Camel. Wait till you can stabilize with Camels at home, and then decide on what you do from there. Also, if you have the resources for it, I wouldn't hate the Pikeman upgrade. But he's going to go Crossbow, and he's going to go Bodkin. Which, again, it could be so valuable. As long as he's not found. Oh, my goodness. But I don't think you can hit the wood line. That's the thing. Look at that KD, guys. I feel like there's been a 2 difference in the KD this whole game. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. High Crossbowman. By Crossbowman. There's Shravamshas. There's Light Cav. No final armor, I guess. Heartt's got great micro in these scenarios, and Classic Pro respects it. Classic Pro backs up. Heartt still has more army. He won't have Light Cav, but these scouts could distract. Maybe head to that gold. Almost feels like Classic Pro's expecting it with that camel. Now Classic Pro kills... Oh, he didn't kill that villager. Dang. Still trying to get value from 55 HP of Light Cav here, which is just incredible, right? And he still could find it, too. Heartt distracted. Heartt looking to attack. Classic Pro will lose villagers. But Heartt will lose villagers as well. And now Heartt's also going to lose his crossbowman. And Heartt could lose camels. And Heartt is just simply losing more right now. This is something that Classic Pro has defended from. And now Classic Pro's army is at 20. Heartt is down to 10. There's 5 camels on the field for Classic Pro. More coming up behind this. There's 7 Shravamshas. Heartt doesn't have towers anywhere to protect villagers. Second town center for Classic Pro, 2 for more villagers when he already has the lead. And while Heartt has been able to stay alive in this game ever since Feudal Age, and he did a good job to get some counter damage in as well. I think it was just the initial openings and then Classic Pro playing calm and collected since then that's made the difference in this one. Classic Pro is just like, the second you give him control, oh, I'm going to keep it. You might counterattack, but guess what? Then I'm going to hit you. I'm going to force you to make more army. Army that you can't upgrade. Army that is out of position now. Now you have to recover from me. Guess what? 3 TCs. Surprise, surprise from Classic Pro, right? 3 town center economy. Heartt needs to win this game. Otherwise, he's back in gold. Not the worst thing for him. He played really good in gold this season. I think he'll still have a lot to prove, and I think that this will also light a fire in his belly. But I'm just looking at the numbers, and it's just not looking too good for Hearttt. To see this fight taken with similar upgrades, Hearttt needs to be winning fights right now. He'll be losing this fight. He calls the GG, and that is the end for Hearttt. Hearttt will be back in gold for the second season, which I'm so excited for, honestly. I really hope Hearttt isn't this, well, heartened by this. I mean it when I say that I think Hearttt has platinum quality, but Classicpro will be back in platinum, guys. And, you know, Classicpro learned his lesson after the first season of platinum. He'll know how every game matters and how like crazy the competition is going to be. And I think Classicpro, depending on what the groups would look like in Season 3 and all those things we'll talk about later down the line, might even be one of my... I don't think Classicpro will be a player who's promoted who I think is going to be relegated. I'm saying that now. He could be in a group of death. I truly think well of the guy. I think he's a great player. I also know it's been an extremely, extremely tough year for him, being from the Ukraine. We had issues with his scheduling because his like power straight up wouldn't be on for like entire days at a time. He got all his games in. He was a consummate professional. I wish you the best, Classicpro, and I'm really happy with how you performed here. Again, for Hearttt, he loses this, but I think there were some lessons learned. I think possibly a little bit too predictable in how he played. Maybe needs to, you know, not go man-at-arms every game. Maybe needs to switch it up with his map choices, but that's a really hard thing to say with someone as talented as Hearttt. When you're that good, why not just do the thing that you're so good at all the time, right? It's just a typical caster comment. Well, stop doing the same thing every time. Well, the reason they're good is because they, you know, play similarly in each opening. And there's just not a lot of people that can stop it. Think about like Leary, for example. Leary is more adaptive these days, but there's a lot of times you just know Leary's going to go archers, and yeah, good luck. What are you going to do about it? So, we have one more series now. One more series. It will also be great in terms of storyline. We'll have Lan, a former top 10 player, versus Margugu, who's an up-and-coming player. I will talk plenty about that. That series will also be live. We might have a delay of 20 or 30 minutes till we get started. But to everyone on Extras on YouTube later on, I hope you enjoyed this one. Congrats to Classicpro again for moving on to Platinum. Excited to see him in Season 3.